A House Filled with Scents and Colours, written by Ellen DeGeneres. The house felt heavy after Dad passed. The silence was deafening. Every corner of the house seemed to echo with memories of him, making the emptiness even more profound. The once lively living room, filled with laughter and conversations, now stood as a silent witness to our grief. The family photos on the walls, which once brought joy, now served as painful reminders of our loss. Mum was lost in her grief. She would sit for hours, staring out the window, lost in her thoughts. Her once vibrant spirit seemed to have dimmed, and it broke my heart to see her like this. She barely spoke, and when she did, her voice was a mere whisper of its former self. The weight of her sorrow was palpable, and I felt helpless, not knowing how to ease her pain. I wanted to help her find even a sliver of peace. I tried talking to her, sharing stories and even playing her favorite music, but nothing seemed to reach her. I felt a growing sense of desperation, wanting to see her smile again, to hear her laugh. I knew that healing would take time, but I was determined to find a way to bring some light back into her life. One day, we were at the store, and she stopped by the aromatherapy section. It was a small, almost imperceptible pause, but it caught my attention. She seemed drawn to the various scents and colours, as if they held some promise of comfort. I watched as she picked up different items, reading the labels and taking in the fragrances. She picked up a lavender-scented candle, her face softening slightly. It was the first time I had seen any change in her expression in weeks. The gentle, soothing scent of lavender seemed to have a calming effect on her. She held the candle close, inhaling deeply, and for a moment I saw a glimmer of the woman she used to be. We left with a bag full of incense, essential oils, and bath bombs. It was a small step, but it felt significant. As we walked out of the store, I felt a sense of hope. Maybe, just maybe, these small comforts could help her find some peace. The bag was filled with possibilities, each item a potential source of solace. That evening, the house was filled with the calming aroma of lavender. The scent seemed to wrap around us, creating a cocoon of tranquility. It was as if the house itself was taking a deep breath, releasing some of the tension that had built up over the past weeks. The lavender aroma was gentle, yet powerful, filling every room with its soothing presence. Mum took a long bath, the steam carrying away some of the tension in her shoulders. The warm water and the calming scent seemed to work wonders. I could see the stress melting away from her body, her muscles relaxing for the first time in what felt like forever. She closed her eyes, letting the steam envelop her, and I hoped that she was finding some semblance of peace. For the first time in weeks, a small smile touched her lips. It was a fleeting moment, but it was enough to give me hope. That tiny smile was a sign that she was beginning to heal, even if just a little. It was a reminder that despite the darkness, there was still light to be found. The scents and colours were a small comfort, a tiny step away from the darkness. Each candle, each essential oil brought a bit of brightness into our lives. The vibrant flowers added a touch of beauty to our home, reminding us that life goes on even in the face of loss. These small comforts were like stepping stones, guiding us through our grief. It wasn't a solution, not by any means. Grief is a long and winding road, and there are no shortcuts. But these small moments of comfort were like signposts, marking our progress along the way. They were reminders that healing is possible, even if it comes in small, incremental steps. But it was a start. Lighting a candle, arranging flowers, these simple acts became rituals of healing. They were ways to honor Dad's memory while also creating new memories. Each flicker of a candle, each bloom of a flower, was a testament to our resilience and our ability to find beauty even in the midst of sorrow. It was a flicker of light in the overwhelming darkness. That small flame, dancing in the dim room, was a symbol of hope. It reminded us that even in the darkest times, there is always a glimmer of light to guide us. It was a beacon, however small, that we could hold on to as we navigated our grief. And for that I was grateful. Grateful for the small moments of peace, for the tiny steps forward. Grateful for the scents and colours that brought a bit of brightness into our lives. Most of all, I was grateful for the hope that in time we would find our way through the darkness and into the light once more. Gnomes in the Garden, written by Ellen DeGeneres. Mum's exploration into New Age trends didn't stop at aromatherapy. She became fascinated by gnomes, believing they brought good luck and protection. Our once ordinary garden transformed into a whimsical gnome sanctuary. She carefully placed each gnome amongst the flowers, whispering words of encouragement and hope. I watched as she tended to her garden, her hands gently touching the gnome statues. The fresh air, the feel of the soil, the act of creating something beautiful, it was therapeutic for her. The garden became her sanctuary, a place where she could lose herself in the simple joy of nature and whimsical creatures. The Power of Crystals, written by Ellen DeGeneres. Mum's fascination with the mystical world deepened. She had always been a seeker, someone who looked beyond the ordinary for answers. Her journey into the realm of crystals was no different. It started with a single book she found at a local shop, a book that promised to unlock the secrets of these beautiful stones. She delved into the world of crystals, drawn to their purported healing energy. Amethyst for peace, rose quartz for love, and many others. Each crystal had its own story, its own unique vibration that resonated with different aspects of life. She spent hours reading, learning about the history and the lore behind each stone. Clear quartz for clarity, it was said to be the master healer, amplifying energy and thought, as well as the effect of other crystals. She was particularly drawn to its purity and the way it sparkled in the sunlight, almost as if it held a piece of the sun within it. Each stone held a specific meaning, a promise of comfort and strength. She believed that by surrounding herself with these stones, she could harness their energy to bring balance and harmony into her life. It was a comforting thought, one that gave her a sense of control in an often chaotic world. She placed crystals around the house, on her nightstand, in the living room, even in the kitchen. Each room had its own set of stones, carefully chosen to enhance the energy of the space. In the bedroom, she placed amethyst and rose quartz to promote restful sleep and love. In the living room, she used citrine and clear quartz to encourage positivity and clarity. Each morning, she would hold a crystal in her hand, closing her eyes as if drawing strength from its smooth surface. It became a ritual, a moment of peace before the day began. She would sit quietly, focusing on her breath, feeling the coolness of the stone in her palm and imagining its energy flowing into her. I wasn't sure about the actual power of crystals. To me, they were just pretty rocks, something to look at, but not to believe in. I watched her with a mix of skepticism and curiosity, wondering if there was something I was missing, some secret that she had discovered. But I saw the hope they sparked in Mum's eyes, and that was enough. Whether or not the crystals had any real power, they brought her joy and a sense of peace. And in a world that often felt uncertain and overwhelming, that was a gift in itself. The power of crystals, it seemed, was not just in their physical properties, but in the hope and comfort they provided to those who believed in them. Section 4. Finding Solace in Shared Experiences, written by Ellen DeGeneres. This chapter delves into the profound impact of shared experiences on the healing process, particularly in the face of grief and loss. Ellen DeGeneres, with her characteristic empathy and insight, explores how connecting with others can provide a much-needed balm for the soul. Mum sought solace in the company of others who understood her pain. The weight of her sorrow was immense, and she often felt isolated in her grief. However, the presence of friends and family who had also faced similar losses offered her a sense of belonging and understanding that she desperately needed. She joined a grief support group, finding comfort in sharing stories and tears with those who had also experienced loss. These sessions became a sanctuary for her, a place where she could openly express her emotions without fear of judgment. The shared stories of heartache and resilience created a bond among the group members, fostering a supportive environment where healing could begin. She also enrolled in art therapy classes, expressing her emotions through colors and shapes. The act of creating art allowed her to channel her grief into something tangible, transforming her pain into beauty. Each stroke of the brush and each molded piece of clay became a testament to her journey through sorrow and towards healing. The quiet sadness that had enveloped her began to lift. As she immersed herself in these activities, she found moments of peace and clarity. The simple act of looking out of a window or taking a walk in the park became opportunities for reflection and renewal. She found a sense of community, a shared understanding that she wasn't alone in her grief. Her creativity blossomed. The laughter and conversations in the cozy room of the art class were a stark contrast to the silence of her sorrow. These interactions rekindled a spark of joy within her, reminding her that life, despite its pain, still held moments of happiness and connection. Abstract paintings filled with vibrant colors and swirling emotions adorned the walls of our home. Each piece was a reflection of her inner world, a visual diary of her journey through grief. The vibrant colors symbolized the emotions she had once kept hidden, now expressed boldly and unapologetically. Each brushstroke was a release, a way to process her grief and find a path towards healing. The act of painting became a meditative practice for her, a way to focus her mind and calm her spirit. Through her art, she found a new language to articulate her pain and her hope, creating a bridge between her past and her future. In addition to her artistic endeavors, she found solace in reading. Books became her companions, offering wisdom and comfort. The stories of others who had faced and overcome their own struggles provided her with inspiration and strength. Each page turned was a step forward in her own journey of healing. She also began to participate in community events, reconnecting with the world around her. These gatherings were more than just social activities. They were opportunities to rebuild her sense of belonging and purpose. Engaging with others, sharing in their joys and challenges, helped her to see that she was not alone in her experiences. Journaling became another outlet for her emotions. Writing down her thoughts and feelings allowed her to process her grief in a deeply personal way. The pages of her journal became a safe space where she could explore her emotions, reflect on her progress, and set intentions for her future. Meditation and mindfulness practices also played a crucial role in her healing journey. These practices helped her to stay present, to acknowledge her pain without being overwhelmed by it. Through meditation, she learned to cultivate a sense of inner peace and resilience, finding strength in the stillness. Over time, the combination of these activities helped her to rebuild her life. She found joy in small moments, strength in shared experiences, and hope in the future. The support of her community, the creative expression through art, the wisdom found in books, and the peace cultivated through mindfulness all contributed to her healing. She emerged from her grief with a renewed sense of purpose and a deeper understanding of herself and the world around her. Section 5. Embracing the Magic of Fairies, written by Ellen DeGeneres. Of all the New Age trends Mum embraced, it was the fairies that captivated her the most. She believed these mythical creatures brought magic and wonder into the world, offering comfort and guidance to those who believed. Books on fairy lore piled up on her nightstand, and she spent hours researching their history and mythology. The idea of fairies resonated with her. They represented hope, a touch of whimsy in a world that suddenly felt too harsh and real. To Mum, they were a reminder that even in the darkest of times, a little bit of magic could still exist.